What's up, everybody? Welcome to Philly with John Marks on PHLY. As always, brought to you by Bet Parks and Central City Toyota. Like, where do you start with this one? We are just blocks away from where we're going crazy. Just a few hours ago now, I was wondering what I was going to see in my drive-in, but everybody was pretty much gone. I didn't see any of the areas where there was probably some damage done. You wouldn't even have known that there was probably 500,000 people or 250,000 people out in the street last night. The Eagles won their second Super Bowl in 8 years, and I guess it feels real. They were up 34-0 at one point. And the Eagles were beating the Chiefs, who were back-to-back Super Bowl winners that were talked all week about how they were going for history with 3 in a row. And the Eagles were up 34-0 on them. Perhaps we should have seen this coming. In fact, a lot of people on this show in particular, including Bob Cooney, who's going to join us in like 9 minutes or so, Black Gritty, a lot of the commenters thought it was going to be a blowout. And in fact, Tyler and I actually talked about this on more than a few occasions, said if there's a blowout in the game, it's going to be the Eagles. The Chiefs aren't capable of blowing the Eagles out. Chiefs are capable of winning by a field goal. No, they really weren't. They didn't know what hit them. It was as dominating a performance as I can remember in a Super Bowl, especially being that you did it to a team like Pat Mahomes. Back in the 90s when there were lopsided matchups, the 49ers and the Cowboys were just clearly better than the teams that they were playing. It wasn't even close, right? This wasn't supposed to be the case in this game. The Eagles were slight underdogs because the Chiefs, well, the Chiefs didn't know what was coming. They didn't know what hit them from the outset. That defense came out. The Chiefs looked old, unprepared, slow, and just not ready for what the Eagles had for them. The Eagles were a team on a mission. And, man, they came out yesterday from Jump Street and punched them in the mouth. And the Chiefs had no response to it. I've never seen Pat Mahomes spooked like that. He was spooked. That Chiefs offense was awful. They couldn't run the ball. They didn't try to run the ball. We're talking about career highs in sacks against Pat Mahomes. That was the Eagles defense. And I'm blown away. I'm blown away at what we saw last night. It is an all-time Super Bowl performance. And really, and we'll break this down over the week and over the weeks after this. This is an all-time Philadelphia team. All-time. What they did in the regular season, what they've done in the postseason, and I just had it right here. Did it not? They set, as far as like point differential, the 145 points scored by the Eagles during the postseason is an NFL record. The plus 70 point differential is the best since the 2000 Ravens. Their final record's 18-3 with a Super Bowl title. Is this really happening to me? I know the Eagles have been in the Super Bowl multiple times since they won. But this really just did happen. They were up 34-0 over the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And I was pinching myself saying this can't be real. It's very much real. And this team's not going anywhere. This is a young and incredibly talented football team. And the people were partying on Broad Street. Tyler Zulli, before we see a couple videos here, what was going on last night and a lot more. We have a ton of video, a ton of audio that we're going to play. You came in here today. You're very mild-mannered. You are... like more of a reporter/respected journalist and a fan like me that looks like Gardner Minshew. You came in here this morning screaming and yelling.
John, you said it best. You said, if we talked about it all week, if one team was going to be the team that was going to blow the other one out, the Eagles were the only team that had the capability of doing that. The Chiefs have not won a game like that all year. With that being said, I think I expected a close game. I was not as bullish as BG was and as some of our chatters were, as Bob Cooney was, when they said 2 scores, double-digit points. I thought this was going to be a close win for the Eagles. John, never in my wildest imagination did I expect an ass-kicking that we saw last night. Utter domination from start to finish. The defensive line got home, only blitzing 4 almost the entirety of the night. Patrick Mahomes had nowhere to throw the football. Shout out to Quinyon Mitchell. Shout out to Cooper Dejean, 2 rookies getting starts and making big plays. How about shout out on the one play that he made last night, probably the last play he makes as an Eagle. Shout out to Avonte Maddox. for making a huge play.
Big fourth down play.
Because DeAndre Hopkins had him beat, and you knew they were going to target Maddox when he came into the game, made a huge play. The run game, wasn't the same as it was in this season. They did a really good job of selling out on Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Hurts said, I'm winning this game. With his arm, with his legs, he was decisive. He was sharp. The throw to Devontae Smith was unbelievable.
And what a great play call there.
And that right there was the moment I knew the Eagles were definitively winning the Super Bowl.
It was the dagger.
They basically said, bleep you, we're better than you, and we're going right over the top on your head. And, I mean, just an unbelievable performance, John, last night. I mean, champagne was being popped at the party I was at with like 6 minutes to go. It was a foregone conclusion.
I agree. But at halftime, even like I am the most uncomfortable. I actually get sicker. It's 24-0, and I felt I couldn't have been more sick. Because I was like, oh my God, they can't do this to me. They have to win this game. I can't have them have like a historic collapse. And like, and my thing about it is because my middle daughter's like, oh, they're gonna win. I'm like, shut up. I don't care if it's 24-0 at halftime. Shut up. And my wife's like, don't say that. Don't say that the game's over. Don't say that. They could easily lose this. Like, we're on the same negative wavelength. And like, I'm literally like that. And that it's not from the halftime show, which made a lot of people want to puke. I was even at halftime up 24-0. It was very difficult for me to enjoy it because I was too worried about a collapse. Yes, the dagger. God, the defense. Jesus. Bob's going to join us in a couple minutes. Blackready's coming up a little bit after that. Jalen Hurts won the MVP. That defense, dude, the Chiefs weren't ready for that. And after the game, and this is where I got to give Nick Sirianni a lot of credit. See, I need a 4-hour show today, but we don't have a 4-hour show. Nick Sirianni's primary function as the head coach of the Eagles is to in-game manage and to motivate. The true CEO, right? In-game managing, he didn't have to do a whole heck of a lot. He did go for it on fourth down, which I thought was the right move. But like his primary function for me is to motivate the team and to get his players playing, which he's done a very, very good job of in his 4 years here. And after the game, the defensive guys, sure the offensive guys would tell you the same thing, but the defensive guys in particular were all barking about, oh yeah, they were talking about three-peats. I saw a couple players say, they copyrighted the three-peat thing. They were making sure they had the trademarks for everything leading up to it. Primary function is to motivate. And when that means, hey, before the Super Bowl, we have to paint ourselves as the ultimate underdog. They're already champions. They're going to three-peat. Look what everybody's saying. Look at all the ESPN. I would have gotten every freaking graphic and every freaking website and anything that was out there, and maybe they did this, and I would have had a collage and a slideshow and a video of every knucklehead out there that has said everything bad about Jalen Hurts and the Eagles and how they can't win. The defensive players after the game were like, oh yeah, we heard it all week. We heard it all week. And I mean, that comes from good coaching. That comes from players that are motivated and were in the moment and knew that this would, you could tell they went out there knowing like, we're going to kick this team's ass today. That's the way they played from Jump Street. And it wasn't just one guy. It was the entire defensive line. Josh Sweat, in my opinion, should have won the Super Bowl MVP. But because so many guys defensively were so good, Milton Williams had 2 sacks. Jordan Davis had a sack. Jalyx Hunt had a half a sack. You had the Cooper Dejean interception return. You had Zach freaking Baun. Tyler, how about the full extension?
What a play. What a play.
So you're worried about Kansas City going down, or we're all worried about Kansas City going down before half, scoring a touchdown, and then getting the ball back to start the second half. Meanwhile, you get it's given to you, not given to you, but you have the ball now inside the 20 with that Zach Baun interception.
You know, one guy you bring up that I think we've talked about a little bit as the year has progressed, but I owe this guy a ton of apologies and accountability because I hated the draft pick when they selected Jalyx Hunt. Small school guy, really had recently transitioned to playing edge. I believe he was a safety when he was younger. Moved into like that hybrid linebacker role. I wasn't sure if he was ready, to be an NFL edge rusher. And he was kind of thrust into that role because Bryce Huff stunk and Brandon Graham was injured.
Yeah, they weren't.
And,
you're right.
You know, Jalyx Hunt was kind of thrust into that role midway through the season. Jalyx Hunt looked like a veteran last night. The rookies last night looked like veterans. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper Dejean, Jalyx Hunt. I mean, they just looked like they were ready for the part, and they were. The first two guys, because they had done it all year, Jalyx Hunt has slowly and incrementally gotten better and better as the year goes on. He looked like he was a force last night. He looked like he
was good.
He was where he needed to be all night long. Unbelievable night from Jalyx Hunt.
Yeah, Bob's gonna join us in a second. Can we see a couple of what was going on down at City Hall and in the area before Bob Cooney joins us here? So this is the celebration last night. If you would have given me a suitcase full of cash, is the only way you could have caught me down there in this celebration. I'm also old.
So let's look at this one first. This is more of an overview shot of City Hall down on Broad Street. Just elation, everything's lit up in green. Here's just a kind of an overview shot. And then I want to show you one specifically, John. I think is hysterical, but I'll show you this one first.
All right, give me this. There's like a 2-year-old on somebody's shoulders there. That's smart. There you go. Yeah, the streets were mean last night. I saw a bunch of videos that people carrying around traffic lights and stuff. Like, oh my God. That like once upon a time that wouldn't have been me, but I would have been right in the middle of that. All right, so then what do we have here?
So this one is interesting, John, because this is Eagles fans helping Eagles fans in a way that I didn't think I'd see on the streets, but this is incredible. I think this video is hysterical.
So if you're listening to the audio of it, it's like some old dude in a Devontae Smith jersey, and he has some type of a rocket launcher firework device where you're putting some, I don't know, like a Roman candle. It looks like it went up.
That's what I think it was.
It's in a rocket launcher, though. So you have some other fan lighting it for him, and then he puts it up into the sky, and it launches like he's Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando or something. All right, Bob Cooney, we think he was scheduled to join us this morning. Has he been bailed out of jail? Because there's talk that Bob Cooney was out in the streets last night. We'll see. There he is. The great Bob Cooney joins us. Who, by the way, I want to put this out there. I don't even remember what day you joined us last week, Bob. Bob said this is the end of the Chiefs dynasty. The Eagles are going to win handily, and I don't think it's going to be close. And everything that you said right there, Bob, looks doesn't it feel like the Chiefs, like that's the end of the run and they're going to need to retool? And it wasn't close last night. How are you? Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. No, I didn't visit jail last night, John. I was comfortably home after going to a party for the first half. Our daughter was on Broad Street last night, so I picked her and her friend up at about 2:30 this morning to bring them home. But yeah, you can't help how you feel, right? I say that all the time. I don't know why I had this overwhelming feeling that the Eagles were just going to decimate this Kansas City team. And was it time for Kansas City to lose? Was it time for the dynasty to end? I don't know about all that, but I just really felt in my heart that the Eagles were the better football team. And it was time. Like, it was time. And I'll tell you what, it's funny. You do all the little scenarios, right, John? You do it with your kids like you were talking about and your wife, and you talk about the craziest of things. I said to my wife sitting right here yesterday morning having breakfast, I said to her, all right, give me kind of a non-star, somebody who's going to do really well. And she came up with Jake Elliott. Boom, that happened. You watched the game last night and everybody contributed. And it's pretty fascinating what they did. And here's what I loved most, guys. And Tyler, you know this from working with me for so long. I like to look at the side stories, right? We know the big stories. I like to look at the little sidebar stories. My sidebar story would be this, John. Look at how calm and kind of expected the Eagles reacted to this win last night. I mean, yeah, jubilation. Yeah. But you look at the interviews. You look at their demeanor on the field. You look at the way they answered questions. It's like, yeah, this is what we thought we were. Here's where we are. it ain't over yet. It's pretty cool to watch that to me.
I mean, it's one of these things. This happens a lot in sports where you saw it coming. All week, and I heard a lot of people say this: if there's a blowout, it's the Eagles blowing out the Chiefs. The Chiefs aren't going to blow out the Eagles. The Chiefs win in a close game. That's how they've won games all year long. And then you watch the game, and you're saying, I should have seen this coming. The Chiefs' offense hasn't been good all year long. It really, really hasn't. And I mean, the Chiefs' defense played well. Outside of the Devontae throw and everything else, like the Chiefs' defense, for the most part, they bottle up Saquon Barkley. But when you look at the motivation of the Eagles, right? Naysayers, everybody's picking against them. Jalen Hurts can't play. Pat Mahomes, three-peat. They walked into that game being like, they don't even know what's coming to. They don't even know what's coming. They don't know what's going to hit them, and they didn't. They didn't. Right from Jump Street. That defense set the tone because, the Eagles' offense was fine. Jalen played great, but that wasn't a game where you're like, wow, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, what an unbelievable offense. The story of yesterday's game, last night's game, was the Eagles' defense. And they set the tone early. Bob, it was 34-0 at one point in the third quarter. And it's like, this can't be real. The Eagles aren't beating the Chiefs in the Super Bowl 34-0. I never thought I would see anything like this. We got our token Super Bowl because it had to happen at some point. We were never going to have a 34-0 lead in the third quarter of a Super Bowl, and that's the team we have right now. It's unbelievable.
It is. And could things have gone differently? No, not in this game. They really couldn't. And you look at it, what was the first heartache that you had of the game? A.J. Brown catches a great pass down the sideline and gets called for a very iffy pass interference. And it went through all of our minds in the Delaware Valley. Here we go.
Here we go.
Is it the Eagles versus the Chiefs and the refs? But they overcame it. I mean, they overcame it. Their defense just did everything that they had to do. I mean, you look at the stats. You're right, John. You look at the stats. Nothing really pops out at you. Jalen Hurts was great, but we've seen that from him before, right? That's not an unexpected thing. You look at Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. They only combined for 7 catches. It wasn't like, they went off for 150 yards or anything like that. Saquon Barkley, as you mentioned, barely averaged 2 yards a carry. If you would have told us all of this stuff before the game,
Loss.
I don't know where it's going to go. But it didn't. It was just total domination. You guys made a great point earlier. I don't think we're giving enough credit to because we haven't seen, as you pointed out. I think the defensive secondary must have been absolutely awesome. Patrick Mahomes had nowhere to go. I mean, he had nowhere to go. And you said he looked like he didn't know what he was doing or he was scared. He was seeing ghosts back there. I can't wait to see the All-22 and see what was going on in that secondary because I just have a feeling that, Quinyon Mitchell and Slay and all those guys, they must have been covering like blankets last night because he really didn't have anywhere to go, it seemed like.
Well, and you think about the wide receivers for Kansas City, right? Like, Worthy's a nice big play guy who is never going to be a high volume catch guy. Then you have Smith-Schuster, where the hell his name? You know what I mean? And then Travis Kelce was, you see the way that Kelce walked in on the bus, like he was from 1974 and he was going to shoot a porn movie or something like that. When I saw that video, I said, "Oh, these guys, they don't even know what's coming. They don't know what's coming. They don't know what's going to hit them." Because now the Eagles may act like Travis Kelce after winning the Super Bowl, but they weren't acting like that before the game. Man,
no.
That was domination. Domination.
The demeanor of this team sans Nick Sirianni, which is okay. I don't mind you being what you are, and that's appears what he does. But they are just like, this is business. And imagine looking at rookies, like a Cooper Dejean, a Quinyon Mitchell, and them acting like they're acting after a Super Bowl win. Like, if I was a veteran, I'd go over and be like, come on, guys, this doesn't happen all the time, but maybe they expect it too. I love the way the Eagles acted all during the week. There wasn't anything crazy. There wasn't anything that you said, I hope that doesn't come back to bite them. I think they were just themselves. And for all of the talk Nick Sirianni has heard, has been given and all, he must have done a great job just gathering this group after week 4 when they were 2-2 and just keeping them together, John, because that's, as you know, microphones in faces for 2 solid weeks. something's bound to happen or
Yeah.
something stupid bound to be said. It wasn't, and they handled themselves perfectly. It was. I swear, I sat there last night watching it. Like you said, it was 34-0, and you're kind of like, wait, is this really happening? But
34 to nothing.
yeah, I think I got in my in my thoughts, John. It was just like, I guess I really did expect this to happen.
34 to nothing. One other thing here. We'll have to talk later this week or something, because now, like, the guys are going to leave. Today's not the day to, like, worry about that. Josh Sweat just got himself a Brinks truck after last night. Milton Williams, there's no way they're going to be able to re-sign Milton Williams, because, like, you can't. I don't know if you're going to re-sign. Baun's going to need to be paid.
Magic, John, you know that.
Unbelievable. The story of the referees, and you said that the first penalty where it's like, oh, come on, offensive pass interference. He did push him, got his face mask, and, like, it was hard to not call it. But on the initial first thing, because Brady was bitching about it, it's like, oh, come on, the fix is in. Eagles got a lot of calls last night, bro. There were a lot of non-calls, and there were a lot of a lot of calls that went the Eagles' way last night. So, and I'm not going to apologize for it, bro.
Like, you remember the Eagles-Patriots game? Gene Steratore was the head referee. They didn't call much in that game. They let them play. And I thought that was kind of a theme last night. That play. What I said to my friends where I was, we have somebody else in on us? But when that pass interference happened, John, I said, if that was the Eagles, would you have argued the call? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was just, I don't know. I woke up this morning. I'm like, all right, how do I describe this game? And you just keep saying it. Domination. That's what it was.
It's like a throwback 80s and 90s Super Bowl where you had that run where every game was seemingly a blowout.
Right.
You know what the difference is? I've never seen Pat Mahomes. Like, I don't think he was scared. And I'll be curious to see if there were guys that were open. Brady mentioned it one time in the broadcast. He was never comfortable in the pocket. When you're under pressure that much, and it wasn't just Jalen Carter, it wasn't just Sweat, it was all of them. I mean, even Brandon Graham got held a couple times where they, like, literally had him in a chicken wing because he was coming around the edge. That offensive line was bad last night. And the Eagles' defensive line, which we've seen all year, was good. Now, like, they won last night, with the exception of Saquon Barkley not having a great game. Like, they've won all year long. The defense dominated, and on offense, they just did what they were supposed to do to win the game. And it was easy. They made it look easy last night.
Was it you or Tyler who said you would have given the MVP to Josh Sweat? Like, think about it. The story probably is the defense and everything that you just explained about Patrick Mahomes, right? Okay, the story is the defense. Oh, yeah, the offense scored 40 and only had 6 in the fourth quarter because they took their foot off the gas pedal.
Yeah.
Like, they scored 40 without a sweat, pretty much. They scored 55 in the NFC Championship game.
That's unbelievable.
They combined for 95 points in the 2 championship games. That is ridiculous. And the story was the defense.
It's an all-time great team in NFL history. It has to be. Most points differential in a really long time. They were 18-3 is their final record. Like, obviously you'll have arguments, but, like, you're talking about a dominating performance against the Chiefs. Against the Chiefs that just won 2 straight, and people were already giving them that 3-peat. So, Bob, we got to run. We'll talk later this week, or we'll talk next week. Enjoy it. You going to the parade?
To be determined. We'll see.
Okay. Looks like it's going to be on Friday because of the weather. All right, Bob, enjoy, man.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
There he is, Bob Cooney. He could be on the show all day today. We'll have him on later this week. All right, coming up, Black Gritty's going to join us. Also, some other video from yesterday, including Jalen Carter's double fist punch on the Mahomes strip sack. He didn't say who even got that. Was that Milton Williams that got that sack there? Milton Williams got the sack.
Correct.
And Tyler Zulli is the biggest Milton Williams fan in the city, and I can say that for sure.
Unabashedly have been the biggest Milton Williams fan probably since he was drafted, because there was the Aleem McNeil conversation, and they traded back.
That is.
Yeah, that's the point. I mean, and by the way, Aleem McNeil's been very, very good. Aleem McNeil has been very good for the Lions. Don't get me wrong. But there was the conversation of should they have taken McNeil and not traded. Remember, it was Donahue, I think it was pissed.
Oh, we got mad. Donahue was mad at Howie for not drafting him.
And Milton Williams ended up being the pick. And it was
I guess Howie was right.
Pretty darn good selection.
Hey, everybody. I guess Howie was right on a lot of these things. Jesus, God, look at that defense. How young they are. Cooper Dejean turned 22. 22 and had a pick 6. The exciting whites. All right, we'll play the video. Jalen Hurts double fist punch. And poor Travis Kelce. And Taylor Swift looked as spooked as Pat Mahomes looked yesterday. That's all coming up. Philly, John Marks. 2-2. All right, BetParks. I was just on the BetParks app. All right, because I wanted to see, all right, are they gonna try to screw the Eagles and be like, oh, well, the Eagles aren't good, they're the 4th favorite to win the Super Bowl next year. Not true. Early Super Bowl for next year: Chiefs plus 600, Eagles plus 600, Ravens plus 700, Bills plus 800. NFC Championship: Eagles plus 300, Lions plus 350, Washington plus 7, 49ers plus 800. That's right. Right now on the BetParks app, but I'm sure you were on there last night. When it looked like he scored a touchdown, Tyler, if you remember on the show Friday, we actually brought up how much Dotson would be if he was the first touchdown of the game. It almost happened. I think it was plus 5,500, and then it gets called back. Could you imagine if you were holding a Dotson first touchdown ticket and then it got overturned? And then it's like, oh, this is a tush-push touchdown. And it was right away. But anyway, the BetParks app is the only app that I would recommend. And you know what? What about Parks Casino and the amazing entertainment that they have going on at Parks Casino, but also blackjack, craps, poker, roulette, hot online slots while you're doing whatever, right? And we're talking about live dealer blackjack right on your phone. So download the BetParks app. Enjoy all the action and entertainment from the casino at your fingertips. New users download the app and get up to 1,000 casino bonus back. $1,000 if you're down in the first 24 hours. Your casino bonus must be wagered. BetParks.com for details. You must be 21, PA, New Jersey, Maryland for the BetParks app. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Glad Hair Restoration by Morgan Stern Medical. Actually, if you may have noticed here, and I'm not happy about it, it's like a big moment. It's the day after the Eagles win the Super Bowl, and I'm on camera now. I'm not just a schlubby radio guy. And not only do I not have any product for my hair, but I was supposed to wear the Gardner Minshew headband, which I apparently left at home. So I have no headband. I have no product for my hair. So now I have kind of a fluffy mess. But it still looks good with Glad Hair Restoration, right? So if you're balding and thinning, and you've heard me talk about this for a long time now, all stages of hair loss. This just isn't about hair restoration, which I had, and you can see the results. But it's about leading edge treatments for prevention and restoration. So you want to prevent, you're starting to lose your hair and you notice it. You're like, I don't want to lose any more. Glad Hair Restoration, PRP and stem cell, topical oral medications, vitamin supplementation, which I have seen work with women too. Like if you have a woman in your life or you're a lady that's watching the show, vitamin supplementation is very effective. And there's other non-invasive treatments, but each patient will receive a complimentary one-on-one consultation because the Glad Hair team is going to pinpoint and say, all right, this is what we think you should do. You're not going to walk in the door and they're going to be like, oh, yeah, hair restoration, sign here. Nope. They're an advocate for you. Give them a call. You can speak to the hair team right now, 610-980-4000, 610-980-4000, or glatzhairmctr.com, GLAT hairmctr.com. Before we get to Black Gritty here, what do we want to play there, Tyler Zulli? Next cut, what do we want to play?
Well, we could. You brought up Jalen Carter. We can play the punch to the
double fist punch of Pat Mahomes,
whatever you want to call it.
The double fist punch to Pat Mahomes. Now you'll notice he's being put in the sleeper hold by the offensive lineman, and Eagles players were getting held. I saw Jalen Carter get held at least 10 times during the game. I don't know how many of them were called. There was at least one or two called. But this is on the Milton Williams sack, and this is where they're starting to pile it on, and it's fun. This is where you're dancing, and you're counting the Super Bowl championship. So here's the replay of it. Look at Carter. Intentional punch. Look at him getting held, but look at this. Intentional What a cheap shot, man. It's crazy. Intentional double punch to the face. It's so important to have a player on your defense that plays with edge like that. That is a maniac. That punishes players. And that's Jalen Carter. I mean, you talk about a dominant freaking player and fell into the Eagles' lap because of off the field concerns and whatever. And like, Jesus, I think the biggest shock to me of anything this season, the biggest shock that I didn't see coming was these young players so soon in their career carrying this defense. Zach Baun was a great signing, and he was a very important part of the team. But Jalen Carter, one of the best defensive players in football. Quinyon Mitchell, one of the best rookies and already a shutdown corner. Cooper friggin' Dejean, who's turned 22 in the Super Bowl, had a pick 6 in the Super Bowl. Nolan Smith turned into a stud. It's unbelievable. I didn't see this coming. Them having the top-ranked defense to where the story of the Super Bowl is the dominating defensive performance by the Eagles. Holy cow, James Bond, Flyers. Howie Roseman. Listen, man, and Black Gritty is he there? Black Gritty, he was a guy that, and Black Gritty will acknowledge this, whether it was real or it was a radio bit. I was a Howie Roseman guy. I was a Howie Roseman supporter. I had Howie Roseman Appreciation Day, and there were a lot of people that did not want to come around and give him credit. But there's nobody right now. Black Gritty, how are you, buddy? We don't have.
Did I say when we?
There you go. Go ahead. You're good.
What
You're
did
good.
I say? Okay, what did I say? We talk about Howie Roseman all the time. I said 2024. Didn't I say that every time?
What?
I said 2024. Every time you said you wanted to give him the parade that year, you're like, he deserves a parade. And I'm like, I got to find out. He drafted all these guys. I got to wait and see if these guys work out.
All right.
I said 2024. So Howie Roseman gets his parade. I was wrong, but I was right. Let me tell you something. Shut up, anybody. You get what you deserve, Chiefs. You went out here all year long and you got help from the refs. I don't care what nobody said. You were the darling Taylor Swift of the media. You were winning by 1 point, a fake field goal, a weird call here. You came back on the Raiders on 2 PIs. You kept winning these games and you thought you had it in the bag. You thought you were special. You went out there against the reigning new MVP, Josh Allen, and you bullied him like a little punk in school, and you didn't deserve it. And when you came and had to deal with filthy Philadelphia, yes, sir, you got rocked in the face because now everybody's talking about the girl you've been cheating with the refs. And the ref was like, look, I can't get involved no more. I can't even get in. Y'all gonna have to fight on your own. And when you had to fight on your own, you got dog walked and couldn't score a point. Oh, Patrick, you out here crying left and right, looking for help. Oh, hold on a second. So this is Patrick Mahomes. This is Patrick Mahomes. He was in the net all night, boy. He was in the net. Oh, Patrick, that's what happens when you don't get help. You get embarrassed in front of the entire globe like your name was Drake. Oh, God, it felt so good to watch them get beat down like that. And Jalen Hurts, my MVP, don't you try to take my MVP away from my quarterback. All the arrows he done took in his back, no, sir. He is the Super Bowl MVP. 2 times outplayed Patrick Mahomes. They were talking about giving him the MVP last time when he lost. I don't want to hear nothing about this 3P. The Chiefs, they went and paid, you're right, they paid $10 million to lease it from Pat Riley for no reason. All those T-shirts are going to Africa. I appreciate it for my people from the motherland, but you ain't never going to see no Chiefs repeat right here in Philadelphia. Johnny Marks, Super Bowl champion. Johnny Marks.
So there's so much to cover based on that, what you just said, Gritty. I'll start here. You're right. The retro pay for Pat Mahomes, or the retro pay for Jalen Hurts and all the crap that he's taken from locally, nationally, even leading up to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts isn't good enough. And who knows how they're going to try to spin it right now. But I guess that did earn him the MVP over, because it's Josh Sweat we're talking about here. Like, if Josh Sweat doesn't get the MVP.
And I love Josh Sweat. They did a great job. The defense did an amazing job. Yeah. And guess what, Johnny Marks?
Yeah.
Well, they're going to shut down Saquon, and then what's Jalen going to do? Win.
Yeah, man.
That's all you do.
So you correctly predicted a blowout in the Super Bowl, right? So you correct, and I correctly predicted Howie Roseman building this right here.
Yep.
But no one could have expected like this. No one could have expected like winning by double digits and it being a blowout is one thing. the domination of the Chiefs last night, and I've never seen Pat Mahomes look that uncomfortable. He looked like he was constipated, or he had to take a dump and he wasn't going to go in his pants and he had nowhere else to go. That was the look on his face last night. It really was. And you looked at anybody on that sideline. You know what you saw on the sideline when the camera panned to him? Oh, bleep. We have no answer for any of this. They knew it, and they knew it early. And that game was over quick, and they knew it. And I've never seen Pat Mahomes look like that.
And they did it without blitzing. Jalen Hurts is the greatest quarterback in Philadelphia Eagles history. He is now officially the GOAT of the NFL. 2 Super Bowls, first 5 years. He won 1. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes twice. Patrick Mahomes looked like McNabb. He was throwing the ball into the ground. Oh, where's all the great Andy Reid coaching? All those balls into the ground. Oh, what happened? He looked just like McNabb. The things that used to make us think about Donovan McNabb, that's how Patrick Mahomes looked last night. And again, if you beat the GOAT, you get to beat the GOAT. Because I was told that this was the greatest team assembled three-peat America, and Andy Reid was about to eclipse Bill Belichick, and Mahomes was going to eclipse Tom Brady. So if you're telling me this little punk three-peat team was about to eclipse 7 championships and 6 championships and 10 appearances in the Super Bowl, then my quarterback is now the greatest quarterback walking God's green earth until further freaking notice. I don't want to hear a damn thing. And the one thing we both got to do that 90% of America has to do, I will physically bend the knee to Nick Sirianni. This is the last time I'm going to be calling Nick Sirianni this week. I'm going to have to call my coach. I'm going to be outside the NovaCare Center holding a sign. With a former radio partner of yours. He has to come out there and hold a sign up with me that says, sorry, Nick. Thank you, Nick. And that's my penance for all the trash I talked about. And I've shut up for the last 3 months because he's turned himself around. But for all the vitriol, I got to go delete my Sirianni Twitter account. I don't want to let nobody know I've been down here tweeting on that thing. But I'm just saying, I got to bend the knee to Nick.
Who has to, Jack? Who has to apologize to?
Joe Giglio has to go stand outside the NovaCare Center with me.
Yeah,
Jack is never going to apologize. Spike's never going to apologize.
Here's what I've learned about sports radio since leaving sports radio, and I guess I knew it when I did it. It's just professional wrestling.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's professional wrestling. It's entertainment. No one really believes most of the things that they're saying down there, and it's effective and entertaining, so people do it. So, give Joe Giglio a kiss for me. He's my buddy. I love Joe.
I love Joe. And some people do have personal agendas that don't like the quarterback over there. I'm not going to call people out, but I get texts on the side where it's like they're happy we won the Super Bowl, but they're angry that Jalen won it. Like how
I don't know how.
Because they just don't like Jalen Hurts.
Other than your take integrity, I don't know why you wouldn't like it and give the dude credit. But BG after the game, Brandon Graham coming up,
real BG
before the interview and being like, "You tell him." Like yelling at Scram, you tell him, get off your back. And it's so true. And hey, listen, like you had said with Sirianni, I thought Sirianni could have gotten fired if they would have lost that when they were 2-2 and they would have lost that game.
For sure.
I'm still telling you that they got blown out. They probably could have done that. Give him all the freaking credit in the world for turning it around. And then after the game where he's there and his kids come up and he does an Eagle chant with his kid or whatever, beautiful. Sorry, beautiful moment.
Beautiful.
And say what you want about Nick. Sincere, emotional. He should be a guy that lives forever in this city as being one of the most popular guys. And
that's my coach.
Yeah, man. I mean, I kind of get teary-eyed just thinking about it right now and picking up his son. And what a moment. What a freaking moment. I want to play this before we jump off. And you're going to be in later this week anyway. But one of my favorite moments that you didn't see at the game, but all the videos were posted online. Can you pull up the Taylor Swift thing? Taylor Swift getting booed when they put her up on the Jumbotron. She looked as shocked as the Chiefs did in the second quarter when they're like, holy crap, I can't believe this is happening. Like, what is going on here? Unprepared for this moment. Here's Taylor Swift getting booed. I love this.
I don't know if they can hear the audio, but
and the audio was off sync too. But anyway,
so give me 30 seconds before you cut me off.
Yeah, no. So in the video, Taylor Swift, they go from Adam Sandler to Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift, you can hear a hearty boo, and yeah, and then she was she looked over who she was seeing next. She's like, oh my God, are they booing me? She was totally unprepared for that. And it felt so good. Felt so good.
The dynasty is over. I don't have to worry about losing Taylor Swift in the booth anymore. Travis Kelce is going to retire and not marry this woman. It is over. Go do your podcast with your brother and throw beer cans at your face because you're old, broken down horse. Like I said, they propped you up through the season just to get you to the Super Bowl and ride that silly little mustache off into the night because the Philadelphia Eagles are world champions. And anybody you know that's not an Eagles fan, tell them to shut the LL Cool J up and think about that confetti rolling down on your face because we're world champions. Good word, Johnny Marks. I told you I was confident. Oh, Johnny Marks, we did it, baby. Oh, we got a good future. And don't worry about Howie. Howie's already working. Howie's already in the busy. He on the phone. He doing things. We going to lose 3 linemen. He going to get Myles Garrett up here. You ain't got to worry about a mother anything. Oh, I almost cussed. Oh, watch. Gotta go. I ain't slept yet. Team sleep.
I know you haven't.
Love y'all.
And follow him. Blackgritty.com is how you find all this stuff. Like, you talk about an influencer. I've never seen a more historic rise than Black Gritty.
I'm
on
trying.
Instagram. You are trying. You're working hard, bro. That's for sure.
Team no sleep.
You're just
Team
not shaking your
sleep.
butt and showing your boobies to get all these follows. And,
hey,
and
if I
likes.
get some extra ones up in here, I might. You know what I mean? Oh, God.
Right, get it OnlyFans because you profit off it right now while you can. All right, there he is.
I'm working.
All right, Black Gritty. We'll come back. Uncle Jamie's going to hop on last segment of the show. Also, Travis Kelce after the game. Love seeing this too. He looked like such a jackass walking into the bus. This stupid suit that he had on. And I've never been like this about Taylor Swift and whatever. I just kind of like the longer it went on, the more annoying that it got. But I couldn't have enjoyed her being booed and shocked by Donald Trump got a loud standing ovation last night, and Taylor Swift got booed. Welcome to the USA in 2025. Coming up, we have a bunch more. And we'll go over more of the game. How about like the Jake Elliott? We were worried about Jake Elliott. He looked like Jake Elliott of old. And more. Jalen Hurts. Jeez, man. Eagles won a Super Bowl. Dominated in the Super Bowl. Philly, John Marks, 2-2. We're back 2-2. Don't go anywhere. Oh, we got to talk about Central City Toyota. It's Uncle Jamie. He was down. I was wondering last night because he's in the heart of University City on Chestnut Street. You know, like, and when things happen like winning a Super Bowl, you wonder, like, all right, you gotta, sometimes people go crazy and start tearing down street lights and stuff like that. So Uncle Jamie may have been in the dealer, like sleeping at the dealership all night long to make sure it's fine. But if you're in the market for a new or a pre-owned certified Toyota, CentralCityToyota.com is where you check it out. Because their sister dealership, Ardmore Toyota, along with Central City Toyota, gives you the best inventory of Toyotas that you're going to find anywhere in the area. I'm a Central City Toyota customer for 20 years. My first new car that I bought was a 2005 Corolla. 4-door, 5-speed, manual transmission. That's 20 years ago. I've had a RAV4. I've had a Highlander. I have another Highlander right now. We have a Sienna. What else have I had here? I like every car. My mom, my dad, we're Central City Toyota customers, and for good reason. Best service and parts dealership in the area. So they don't play pricing games, right? So they're not going to get you in and try to rip you off. No, that's not how they do business. It's transparent. Here's what the price is. Here's what you get for your trade-in. They're not playing pricing games with you. CentralCityToyota.com. Parts, service. If you're looking for a new ride, and who's not looking for a new ride? CentralCityToyota.com. Uncle Jamie's going to join us coming up next as well. All right, TrueMark Financial Credit Union. I actually, I have a not a huge balance, but actually it is a pretty big balance that I have due coming up on a credit card, and I accumulated this during Christmas and a little bit before that, right? So, like, what do? Do you pay it? What if you don't have the money? What if you don't want to pay it, right? TrueMark Financial Credit Union can help you with their Visa credit card. That's right. Transfer your existing balance from another institution to a TrueMark Financial Visa credit card to take advantage of this amazing offer. 0 interest on balance transfers for 12 months. So you can pay it off without paying interest. If you pay interest, I don't know what you're doing. Transfer the balance to TrueMark. All right. And you get rewards. Maybe you just want something else, right? Get the credit card that best fits your financial needs. TrueMark Financial can choose that for you. You got to get in by February 28th, 2025. So don't wait any longer. Visit TrueMark.com/compare for full details and to apply today. TrueMark Financial, federally insured by NCUA. Equal opportunity lender. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to approval. 3% balance transfer fee applies. Standard rates apply after the promotional rate. TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Hooah! There we go. What do we want here? Can we get a little dancing before we get to Travis Kelce? All right, so you have, do you remember Jeffrey Lurie? Tyler, do you remember Jeffrey Lurie dancing after the first Super Bowl?
I don't.
It's like a GIF. I've seen it a million times, but he's kind of like doing one of these things.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I do remember that one. Yep.
And for being an old dude, it wasn't bad. And he didn't have to do it for more than 15 seconds. So it's like, if that's your only move, but like it was rather impressive. And you have Howie dancing last night as well. It was everybody was smoking cigars. Bryce Huff, who was not active for the game, there was a video of him. I think he Instagram live drinking a beer and smoking a cigar, which, you know, some people commented on that. But who do we have first? Howie or Jeffrey Lurie first?
Yeah, so it's all one video. So it's Howie first, right into Jeffrey Lurie, all is one clip.
Eagles locker room last night.
So just to give everybody a heads up.
Yeah, there's no video, there's no audio.
No
to
audio.
It.
There was music playing. You know, everybody's swearing and things like that. So we'll just the video for you.
So if you're listening on our audio right now, Tyler's going to roll it. And I mean, it was a great sight. Yeah, Saquon Barkley at one point was shotgunning beers. Maybe we'll have that. But there he is, Howie. Tyler, I don't know how would you describe the Howie dance? Oh, here comes Jeffrey Lurie. Jeffrey, like, all right, in this one, he looks like he's at a wedding or a bat mitzvah when he's dancing. But he has the Lombardi Trophy in his hand.
Here's the thing. I've learned this because I can't dance personally. I have no rhythm whatsoever when it comes to dancing. If you can get a prop, it makes the dancing makes your dance moves a little bit better, right? Because
totally agree.
It takes a little bit of what you need to do away because you have a prop.
It takes the hand away. You don't know what to do with
right.
the hand.
So he's got the trophy. He's got the Lombardi Trophy in his hand. That's half the battle right there. You got a prop in your hand. You can kind of dance around with that.
It also because my eye went to the Lombardi Trophy as opposed to what he was doing with dancing for half a second. To your point, Tyler. That's what it did.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you for just a second, you go, all right, maybe he can't dance, but you see the trophy, it adds to it.
Yeah. See, I would say I'm a good dancer. Really? You can't dance?
I cannot dance at all.
You know what it's like for me?
At all.
Have you, when you play beer pong, or I don't know if you've played darts in your life, and I'm not talking about competitively. When you have the perfect buzz, it's like you're not thinking about it. You're in fuego. I'm like nailing 19s and 18s, and I'm hitting the bullseye when I play darts, or I'm sinking that. I'm like calling the shot on the last shot in beer pong.
I think there's a feel to that on the golf course too. There's you have a drink or two, whatever you feel comfortable with.
The perfect buzz.
Because you're not thinking as much about your shot anymore. You're thinking, I'm just going to go up and have fun and hit this shot, and then all of a sudden you go, wow, just hit that drive 260 down the center. You know what I mean? The perfect
buzz shot, the perfect buzz dance. When you have the perfect buzz and you're not worried about people watching, you can just, that's when I'm at my best, dancing. But anyway.
Well, speaking about drinking beers, how about Saquon last night? Slamming a beer.
Yeah, they're shotgunning beers. Now, when Saquon's shirt's off and he has his iPhone tucked into his pants, I think he still has his football pants on. So yeah, dude's totally jacked. And to see him like shotgunning a beer like he's Tyler back at Penn State. And he put it down pretty quick too. Yeah, so it was chaos in the locker room afterwards. And they were small locker rooms too. I was forced to watch the pregame show because I was at my in-laws and there was nothing else. I was just like sitting there and there's, like 7 young kids running around. And it's like, all right, well, I guess I'm watching the pregame here. And they were one point they were in the locker room before the game started, before the players were there. And yeah, like it's an old stadium. So even though they've renovated it, those locker rooms are small compared to newer facilities. But anything else from post game, or do we?
Yeah, so I think one more. I think it's a really good soundbite from AJ Brown. Diana Rossini caught up with AJ Brown after the game on the field. I thought he gave a couple of really excellent answers. So here's AJ Brown after the game.
We can't rewrite history, but we can make it easy.
What do you think of your defense today?
They played unbelievable. They played lights out. That's a good team. That's a good quarterback. probably the best quarterback in the game, and he just made him look average. And we know he's not average.
What about your quarterback?
Man, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hell of a game. Hell of a game. Poise, all game, in control, dimes. Man, he played his butt off.
So and God, I couldn't love that guy any more than I already do. He's not some diva wide receiver that maybe at some point we thought he was here. And I guess it would be some stuff on the sideline or whatever. He's not. Like, he is a genuinely good dude that probably gets pissed when he's not having success or doesn't get the ball, but good. I want that. Good. He should feel like that. Shouldn't be okay with not doing that. I don't even know how bad it is, but love that dude. So I was listening to my usual overnight show that I listen to, and I listened to a couple different radio stations this morning out of market just to see what they were saying. And you know what? Damn it, Tyler. Like, not even they weren't begrudgingly saying that the Eagles won, because it was clearly a dominating performance, and there's not many people that wouldn't have said, like, everybody was being like, wow, the Eagles really dominated them. It's just that, like, they're like, oh, the game sucked. Oh, the game sucked. The Eagles just blew them out or whatever. How about giving them some freaking credit? You know what I mean? Like, that was as dominating a performance as I can remember. Since when? That was the most dominating performance in a Super Bowl since when?
The Seahawks beat the Broncos.
That was dominating.
That was the most.
From Jump Street,
correct.
Too. Yeah, you're right.
No, sorry. Was it the Broncos beat the... One of the two games. Did the Broncos beat the Panthers or the Seahawks beat the Broncos? Because the Broncos won and then lost, correct? Or did they lose and then win?
They lost to Seattle and then they won. Peyton Manning couldn't even throw the ball.
Yes. Okay. So it was
running the ball.
It was the year they lost to the Seahawks. Then I think that was probably the last game where I'm like, wow, this is a beatdown.
It was a beatdown last night. 34-0 at one point. Uncle Jamie joins us, who has been riding high on his football selections. He had another one last night. The general manager of Central City Toyota. I don't know how much sleep he got. He was probably down in the parade. Or not the parade. He's probably down in the chaos on Broad Street, Uncle Jamie.
I was at the pole right in University City here, watching over the dealership as the fireworks went off. Yeah. Can't slick a pole on me. I'll climb it up. I still climb up.
Were you up there with binoculars?
Yeah, going in. You know, it's amazing. You know, you were talking about the national media. So instead of giving the Eagles their coronation, you know, their bent is, oh, the game sucked. You know what? How about the Eagles just stuffed it down their throat? Where's our coronation? You know, we always take a little Philly attitude with stuff, and I felt that too when I was watching the ESPN coverage, for sure.
It's like, oh man, the Chiefs. Oh man, the Chiefs. So like, yeah, like the Chiefs haven't. I mean, they haven't looked like that against anybody else. How about the Eagles came out? The Eagles came out from Jump Street. And I'm telling you, I've never seen this before with the Chiefs team. The whole sideline, it was oh, crap, we're in big trouble look. And they all look like it. Andy Reid looked like it. Mahomes looked like it. The offensive. Pat Mahomes has never been pressured like that in a game. And the Eagles didn't blitz. And they got a couple sacks on 3-man blitzes.
Not one blitz the entire game. And the players know who's got and the talent level, as we talked about in the pregame, a few days ago, the talent level was startling, the talent differential between the two teams. I mean, the Eagles team's much more talented, probably the greatest talented Eagles team ever.
I mean, this is the best team ever.
Best team they've ever had. They played like it. They came out, they thumped it. You know, that first pass to AJ, that BS call that on the sideline, immediately everybody's up in arms. Next thing you know, the refs pay it right back. You know what? We'll pay you back on Goddard. Now it's equal. Eagles never look back.
Yep, it was a makeup call. Now there was helmet-to-helmet contact. It was a borderline call.
Yeah.
I think on third.
Both were borderline, right? Because helmet to helmet. But yeah,
on third down, I would never make that. That call to extend the drive. They did, but the the Eagles got the benefit of almost every call the rest of that game. I mean, really.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was like that in the Rams game too, where like the Eagles were getting a lot of calls. The Eagles got a lot of calls last night. I'm not going to hide from it, and I'm going to apologize for it because I've seen the Eagles lose games. They lost 2 years ago with a BS call on that James Bradbury holding call. But yeah, like Jake Elliott was great. The refs didn't give the game to Kansas City.
Right.
Everything that we worried about last night didn't come to fruition. Like unbelievably dominant performance by this team. And hats off to them, man. They're by far the best team in the NFL. And I can't, like, now all season, we're going to talk about how they get back again and again and again and again. Because this is a young team, man. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even in the space yet where I want to think about next year and losing Kellen Moore and, you know, are you going to sign Zach Baun and, you know, who are you going to bring back? Is Saquon going to be the same? We got a lot of time to talk about that. It just today is just for Philadelphia fans to enjoy. People like you and I, John, who grew up with our grandfather, my father, your grandfather, who, you know, suffered for all those years with Rich Kotite and those teams back in the 60s and 70s that were just trash before Dick Vermeil came here. You know, you think about the recent success, you know, and plaudits to Jeffrey Lurie, you know, for people that run a business, you know, he's running a business that $190 million investment has turned into a $10 billion property. I mean, plaudits to that man for running an organization like he does. I mean, as someone who runs a business, that is a world-class job.
Yeah, I was on about 1 a.m. this morning. I was on Cowboys Twitter with a couple of the writers because it's like Cowboys fans are actually happy the Eagles won because it shoves it up Jerry Jones's nose even more because he's crying poor. Now everybody in Dallas realizes the cap's not a real thing. You saying you can't afford to sign players? The Eagles sign everybody. Look at the star talent. There's so many players on that team that are paid, but it's not just that. They're not the Yankees trying to buy a championship. You can do that when you have the young players. And you're right. Jeffrey Lurie is the best owner the city's ever had. He pays, and he pays big money. But man, like the fact that they can have multiple coaches and they win a Super Bowl, give credit to Nick Sirianni. This is an organizational type thing. And I'm sure they believe like, hey, if you come in and you're a cog in the system, this is what we need from you. You can win. And Nick Sirianni showed that, man. He really did. So it's a credit. It's a credit to everybody in the organization, the players, the coaches, the owner, Howie Roseman.
You know, if you look at it even a little bit deeper, you know, last year they're 10-1, riding high. Everybody's looking eye test. You know, what's with this team? All of a sudden they fall off the face of the earth, right? The big talk at that point is, you know, is Jeffrey Lurie and how are you going to fire Sirianni? Are they going to keep him? And you know, a lot of people in this town, a lot of plaudits, people that make opinions in this city were pushing for Sirianni to be fired. He weathered the storm. He made the right decision. I think they did the diagnostic as to what happened at the end of last year. It was a culture issue in that locker room. They figured out the culture issue. They faced it head on. They addressed it, and look, Super Bowl victory. And that's it. That is a stark reminder for people that run organizations to look honestly in the mirror, don't react to situations, and make the right call based upon levels of experience and what you know works. And then be honest with yourself and your employees, and look what happens.
Shout out to everybody watching on TV. For the rest of the show, go over to allphly.com. You brought up Pop. What I remember of him when I was young, which was the Eagles are never going to win a Super Bowl. This is a horrible team. This is a horrible organization. Yeah, like we talked about this late last week when Eric Allen got into the Hall of Fame. They had Hall of Fame players on that team, and the owner said, "We don't want you. We're not going to spend money to keep you. Free agency? No, we're not doing that." They let Hall of Fame players leave. Jeffrey Lurie signs everybody and finds a way to sign everybody, and Jeffrey Lurie made a mistake 20 years ago calling himself the gold standard, which they didn't win a Super Bowl yet, so he should have never said it. They are the gold standard in the NFL right now. I mean, they really are.
You know, and you forget, you know, people in this town forget, John, maybe they're too young, you know, the generation that's enjoying these Super Bowls. People forget Norman Brayman was very close to moving this franchise to Arizona. If you
Leonard
remember.
Toes. That was the owner before.
Leonard Toes, yeah. So, the ownership, to your point, the ownership in this city has never been, stronger in regards to the Eagles, and it's a credit to their organization. So it's exciting for the city. I'm happy as a lifelong Philadelphian. I am happy, very happy for the city and for the people in it to enjoy it. Going to be a big parade on Friday down Broad Street again. And just, take it all in today. Don't worry about any of the questions coming up and everything else. Just know that they're the best team with the best talent, and they just thumped the defending Super Bowl champions, and it wasn't even a game.
It's hard for me to, it's not like I'm enjoying it, but I also can't wait for the next thing, which is, all right, where's Josh Sweat going? Where's Milton Williams going? How many people are going to leave?
Zach Baun, right?
Yeah, I mean, think about last time they won a Super Bowl, guys, you cash in on this.
Oh, yeah.
This is your big paycheck. Milton Williams is going to make a lot of money. These guys are going to make a lot of money.
But credit to Howie, that the people that they draft, the past draft. Look at this past draft, who they put in the past draft, and who contributed last night. Unbelievable job.
It's like an all-time job.
Job. So you look at it going forward. You make the right financial decisions. That's good for the franchise. You don't act like Jerry Jones, and look what happens.
All right. Go sell some cars, Uncle Jamie.
I will. Yep, gotta go.
CentralCityToyota.com, or just walk into the dealership in the heart of University City and kick the door open and say, "Where's Uncle Jamie?" All right, don't kick the door open. I did not mean that literally. CentralCityToyota.com. We're back tomorrow.
Your impending lawsuit's going to be great.
Yeah, I should
I don't know.
realize.
John Marks told me to come and knock your doors down. I don't know what to tell you.
I should realize that people would say, well, he said it. Like last night I tweeted out that it's hard to enjoy the Super Bowl because Saquon didn't get a chance to break the rushing record. And so many people were.
Well, you can't tweet with.
They unfollowed me.
Jokes.
I didn't put the sarcasm.
Yeah, you can't tweet with sarcasm. It doesn't exist on Twitter.
Yeah, people, screw you, Marks. You're so dumb. Like, all right, dude. Anyway, we're back tomorrow. Switch over to Ant. Our coverage all day long on all of our shows. Eagles won the freaking Super Bowl. Back tomorrow, 8 a.m. live. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.